Hello and welcome to Connected, episode 510. My name is, I didn't know what number it was, so I was stalling while I was looking at the top of the document. It's pretty good, right? I'm your keynote chairman, Stephen. That's me. That means I'm really good at a very specific game we play. It doesn't really matter. I'm joined by annual chairman Myke. He's very good at another game we play.
Yeah, I'm good at predicting the year, it would seem. I just want to let everybody know, Federico is fine. We have OTJ here. Now, the reason I say this, hi, John Voorhees.
Hello, how are you? Good to see you guys.
Because we have set the rules, the Triple J succession rules, right?
Right.
That if one of us dies, right, someone else will step in. So every time, if Federico's not here, but John's here, I feel like we have to make it clear that Federico's not dead.
He's not dead.
Right?
He's
not dead. He's on a
week
beach.
off. Yeah.
He's on a beach. So John's here. Thank you for joining us, Mr. One True John.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. It's always good to be here and chat with you guys.
Yeah, it's going to be good. We got some good stuff planned today.
Mm-hmm.
I should say, because I got derailed at the beginning, this episode is made possible by Ecamm, Fitbot, and ExpressVPN. Thanks, guys.
And John.
John made this episode possible.
Yeah, you guys wouldn't have a show if it weren't for me, obviously.
That's true. I say that every week. Is it without the One True John, there'd be no show.
Yeah, John's like the air we breathe.
Mm-hmm.
The reason we get up in the
going
morning.
that's probably going a little too far, Stephen. Don't make it weird.
Follow up. Phil Schiller can't keep a job. Just 8 days after it being announced that Apple would be taking an what's the term, John? Observatory role? What's the name of the board seat?
Yeah, a board observer, really.
A board observer, if you will. Phil Schiller will not be taking that because Apple and Microsoft both have given up those board seats. So remember, I think we talked about last time. I know others did as well.
I don't think we spoke about this on
I don't know. It was people know about it. It's out there.
Okay. Is it just weird follow-up where it's like, here's information about a news story we didn't discuss?
It's follow-up to the rest of the world, really. That both Microsoft and Apple had these roles because they both have partnerships, although very different partnerships with OpenAI, and both have given them up. Potentially because of regulatory concern over big tech and AI and all of those things. Who knows? But yeah, it's over. I wonder if he got to go to a meeting at all,
Good question. I don't know. I mean, it's a weird story, right? I mean, I'm not sure I buy the regulatory thing, but this is not really that unusual in the corporate world. And it's not like Phil Schiller would have a right to vote on the board of OpenAI. He'd just be there kind of hanging out, right? And basically a babysitter for Sam Altman is essentially what I would have considered that role. But for whatever reason, they've decided that wasn't a good idea. And companies generally don't like to do this kind of thing because, you're there, you're discussing your secrets, and you don't want to share that with the whole world. If these people aren't part of your company, why should they be there listening in on all your secret plans? So Phil doesn't get the dirt now.
I don't understand how this is a regulatory concern.
I don't either.
Because shouldn't it be more of a regulatory concern that Microsoft has invested like tens of billions of dollars into this company, like essentially owning their technology? Is like where like Microsoft keeps doing. There isn't a term for this yet, but this is happening so much more in Silicon Valley. These like secret acquisitions.
Well, sure, but the FTC and the EU are already looking into OpenAI's deals with other companies. So like the regulatory stuff is already happening. It's in the early stages.
I don't think this fixes it though, because this doesn't change the deals. All this means is they're not going to be in the room with no vote. That's why it's odd to me.
Look, Phil Schiller's very busy making everyone in Europe angry. And he couldn't juggle it all,
No.
He just wants us to think about the children, Stephen. Come on. It's all about the kids.
I do. And so there you go. Follow up to a topic that maybe we didn't actually talk about, but I thought we did. We did talk about Bluetooth having a funny name, and listener Matt wrote in talking about this. And back in 1997, Intel employee Jim Kardish, I'm going to pronounce that.
Sure.
Kardish, was working with a special interest group, which was forming a new wireless technology. Didn't have a name, and he suggested the name Bluetooth.
Kaddish was inspired after speaking with Sven Mattisson, who was also on the SIG, the Special Interest Group. Mattisson was interested in Scandinavian history and had read about Harald Bluetooth, who was a king of Denmark and Norway in the 9th century.
The guys thought his reign was a great analogy for a technology that would unite devices, the way that ye olde Bluetooth united the tribes of Denmark into a single kingdom.
The Bluetooth logo is made up of his 2 initials, taken from the ancient runic alphabet in use at this time, which is why it has that very particular look, the Bluetooth logo.
And we don't have time to open that can of worms today, but yeah, runic alphabets are cool.
Stephen, did you just do an ingenious Trojan horse inside of this episode?
I did. There's an ingenious slipped inside the envelope of Connected this week.
Nice. Stephen has gone pretty wild with the show document today. This is just part 1 of Stephen's genius. But yes, if you like to hear us talk in that very specific way about weird things, you should go check out Ingenious, which is a show that me and Stephen do every 2 weeks where we pick a weird Wikipedia thing and share some information with you.
People in the Discord are like, they're doing their ingenious voices, which we definitely do when we read those scripts.
I didn't know that, and I don't like that happens.
Yeah, so you do it. You do it for sure.
I think it's just the reading means we're faster.
Reading voices, reading voices.
Right.
I think we have good reading voices, but they're still reading voices, you know?
Yeah. Ivory 2.0 is out, an update to the really lovely Mastodon client made from the folks behind Rest in Peace Tweetbot. John, tell us a little bit about what's in Ivory 2.0.
So there are a couple of things here. There's a reworking of how the hashtags tab works. It's going to let you create lists that contain up to 4 hashtags that you can follow, which is nice. I mean, I'm not really a hashtag person. I see that you have put some in here helpfully, Stephen, like Relay 10 and OTJ Day. I didn't know there was such thing as OTJ Day, but if there is going to be one,
it's every day.
It ought to be today, because here I am, right? In all my OTJ glory. So if you're a hashtag person, go for it. Make your list.
This is one of, I don't know. Why did I think hashtags weren't even a thing in Mastodon?
Because they're not very well surfaced in a lot of apps.
Right.
And now they are. So maybe people, since so many people use Ivory, maybe they'll catch on. But it's probably not going to catch on with me. Just kind of spoiler. But the bigger feature here, I think, is a reworking of the share sheet. So it's just a lot nicer. I mean, it's easy to get to the controls for how public your post is going to be, to get to the language, to see a little preview of the link that you're sharing, if you're sharing a link, that sort of thing. It's a very nice design and works really well in my experience.
What's the share sheet?
So in the iOS share sheet. So if you're like on the web and decide you want to share a link to a web page or something, for instance, on Mastodon.
When people say share sheet, I think of like where you get all your apps and your people, like the iOS system.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like I'm sharing a post inside of Ivory, but no, this is like, okay, it's from the share sheet. Like if
it's
I'm
a
on
share
a website,
extension. Yeah, it's
share
a share
extension
inside of other apps. Right. So that's been reworked. Much better design now. So I'll say again, this is another feature that I don't use a lot. For whatever reason, when I post something on Mastodon, like a link or something, I tend to copy it and then just go into Ivory.
Me too. I'm not sure if that makes us old, but yeah, I feel like I want to be in the app, like doing the thing and then posting it. You know
First,
you
got to go to your Google and you got to go
type
to
in www.yahoo.com.
Yes, exactly.
See what Google gives me.
Yeah.
Get your Yahoo Finance link. Yeah, that's how it works, Mike.
John.
The other day, I saw someone post a link, or maybe it was in our group chat or something, and it was something Apple related, but it was a Yahoo Finance page that Reuters was embedded inside of.
Oh, that's weird.
I was like, what is going on? It was a very strange, like, how is that? Like, them obviously it's some content licensing deal, but it was very weird. Very strange.
Yeah, that's really weird. There is.
It was you, John. You sent it to me. Here it is. I found it in our group chat. It was the Apple OK's Epic Games Marketplace app in Europe. And it is a finance.yahoo.com, but it has the Reuters logo on the top. Like very strange, like a very strange thing to exist. So you are actually the person that goes on Yahoo Finance.
I am at fault. Yeah, I think I found that on Mastodon, in fact. So I'll blame the Don on that one.
Somebody used the share sheet straight from Yahoo Finance, and that's how you got it.
Probably. There is one bug in Ivory worth noting, which is right now you can't access the profiles of people who are on subdomains. So that means that the entire Mac Stories team, who are on our own subdomain for the Mac Stories server, if you tap on, for instance, at Mac Stories in a post in Ivory right now, you will not be taken to the Mac Stories profile. Or if you tap on my name or Federico's, you won't get to us. But I think they're working on a fix for that.
That's odd.
We're not the only ones who use a subdomain. That's a fairly common thing, but it's not so common that it obviously slipped through the cracks on this one.
Subdomains different to like custom servers?
Yeah, because ours is mastodon.macstories.net.
Yeah.
And so
you're safe.
Yeah, I'm not sure how
safe,
it differs.
Myke.
Alex. Yeah, you're okay. You're okay, but because you didn't have Alex set up your server for you.
So Alex is the problem, is what you're saying.
Yes. If y'all had done, mastodonstories.net as your server name, you would have been fine.
Yeah, we would.
Or Myke.social, just to pull one out of the air.
Just to AWOD.social, it's just a. Hey, John, if you want to come over, I'll offer you. If you want to be the second and only person on Myke.social, you just let me know, man.
Ooh, boy, that'd be cozy. That'd be really cozy. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
OTJ at Myke.social. That username is just ready for you whenever you want it. You can share as many Yahoo Finance links as you like,
This episode of Connected is brought to you by Ecamm. Ecamm Live is the leading video production and live streaming studio built for the Mac. Ecamm does all aspects of video, not just live streaming. It's perfect for simplifying your workflows. It's easy enough to get started quickly, but powerful enough that you can create just about anything with video, and you can do it all with the Ecamm app. My favorite feature of Ecamm is how integrated it is to all of the multimedia tools you have available to you on the Mac. So you can bring in your cameras. It will do window grabs really easily. That got much better in Mac OS a couple of years ago, and Ecamm, of course, supports all of that. And you can set up these scenes and save them and switch between them really easily. So whether you're streaming, recording, podcasting, or presenting, everything you need is there in Ecamm, including support for multiple cameras and screen sharing with a live camera switcher that lets you direct the show in real time. Stand out from the crowd with high-quality video. Add logos, titles, lower thirds, graphics, share your screen, drop in video clips, bring on guests, use a green screen, and so much more. Ecamm Live does it all. And super exciting news, Ecamm for Zoom is now available for everyone on the Pro level plan. So you can automatically send Ecamm Live's audio and video output into a Zoom meeting, webinar, or event. So you can have everything arranged the way you want it and send that all to other people you're meeting with. You can add up to 8 Zoom participants as camera sources in your broadcast or recording. Plus, you can automatically create individual participant audio and video recordings and add Zoom chat messages to your broadcast or recordings as text overlays. If you live in Zoom the way that we do, this is really powerful stuff. Ecamm's members are entrepreneurs, marketing professionals, podcasters, educators, musicians, church leaders, bloggers, and content creators of all kinds. In order to stay relevant these days, you have to show up on camera, and Ecamm makes video easy. And right now, you can get 30% off because summer is the best time of year to learn a new skill. So act now. Just like summer, this deal won't last forever. Go to ecamm.com now. That's Ecamm, E-C-A-M-M, ecamm.com. Go check it out. Our thanks to Ecamm for their support of the show and Relay FM.
So iOS 18 Beta 3 is out. I think all the betas are being revved, but obviously iOS is the one where the most is happening. And there are a couple of interesting features that have been released. I guess you guys, I'm assuming both of you guys have updated, but there are a couple of things I wanted to point out. I'm not using iOS on any device. I just have the betas on my iPad mini, which is not a great device to test.
No, it's not.
Anything, everything is real. I gotta tell you, boys, it's getting real slow and hot on that iPad mini. Things are bad. It's a bad time, and the battery is dying very quickly. It's terrible. Don't do it. The thing that is most interesting to me is Apple has made some tweaks and changes to the way that icons are working in dark mode. A thing that was previously seemed to be a bug, which was that you could separate widgets and icons from dark and light mode, seems to have become just the way the system works. So you actually can't separate, which is kind of annoying. So if you want dark widgets, you have to. They basically tied icons and widgets together in light and dark mode, which I don't love. But the thing that is of note is Apple is forcibly changing the look of icons if you choose dark mode. So developers will be able to supply to Apple a dark mode icon, but if they don't, Apple is doing something about it. And what I would love to know, and I don't know if anybody could tell us this, it seems like some icons are being particularly changed, like somebody has made some decisions about how an app icon could be changed. And some just look like they're being darkened or like inverted or something. But like, for example, the Facebook icon, right? It currently, it's blue with a white F. In dark mode, the background is black and the F is blue. Now, that's not an invert. That feels like a decision that has been made to me, right? About the way that is going to be displayed. And there are lots of instances of this. I'll put a couple in the show notes so people can see, but like some are simple, right? Like Google Maps, they just take the white that's in the background and change it black and keep the colors on the little pin the same and stuff. But to me, it feels like something's going on, whether it's Apple intelligence or a designer has made some choices. Like, I don't know. And then icons that are like full color, they have been dimmed a little bit. It's kind of weird. But yeah, Apple's making some choices.
Yeah, it's interesting. It seems like the rule tends to be that if it's a simple glyph with hard contrasting edges, like the F in Facebook, or I don't know, Slack's logo or something like that, or Threads, for instance, that those are being kind of inverted, although it's not strictly an inversion at all. It's a pulling colors from the icon itself and replacing white areas with those colors and then darkening the other parts. Yeah. So that seems to be where the biggest action is. And I got to imagine that's automatic because there's just too many icons on the store, except for maybe they're designing around some of the really biggest apps, like the top 100 or something.
That is what I think. Maybe I would love to understand the answer to this, but just like the Facebook one specifically really jumps out to me.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
It's not an inversion. Like it's weird. And so like I could imagine that there are some apps that they might be making some decisions on, but ultimately developers should be providing these to the system. And I think Apple wants it to happen, so they've now enacted this, so it will happen. So you should probably do it yourself. You know what I mean? So I think it's a smart way to do it, even though I think it's probably going to upset some people.
The more skeuomorphic and 3D looking the icon is, the less likely it's going to change much. That's where the dimming really happens, I think.
Yeah.
And developers still have the opportunity to do their own thing and supply them to the system, right? We're kind of talking about a couple of different things where the system is making some decisions, I think, in the absence of direct, like, this is what I want you to do from the developer. So I'm not surprised there's like some hodgepodge, like mixed up things right now. Clearly, at least in beta 1 and 2, Apple didn't have this finished. And I kind of suspect it's still not done. So we may still see some more changes.
It's definitely more polished now than it was in beta 1, but it does have a ways to go yet.
Yeah. They did fix the bug where if you switch back and forth, sometimes just all of your icons would disappear and become like the default white round rect. It's like, well, all my icons are just white boxes. So they got that going for them.
But the thing I'm maybe most excited about is they've finally done it. Stickers can be emoji.
Yes.
And they like look like emoji and act like emoji inside of messages, as well as in reactions and stuff. Like this is the thing that I've wanted them to do forever. So now, if you wanted, you could use emoji instead of the human emojis that exist. So I think this is a very cool thing that they've finally done.
Yeah, I'm still not used to it. It's odd to look at your recently used or your most used emoji and see your stickers in there. I mean, it's not that I dislike it. I'm a little surprised every time I see it.
Yeah. And I think to do this though, they have, I think, had a regression with the emoji picker where they've made the emoji bigger so you see less at the time. And I think they're doing that because obviously stickers tend to be more complicated. And so you maybe need a little bit more visual for seeing those. But I will take that for this because I think we could finally get what I think people have wanted for a really long time, which is maybe we're going to get back on the old sticker roundup, John, because like this was the original promise of like stickers in messages. Like people thought they were emoji, but they never were.
Never were.
But like now you actually could use a Mickey Mouse emoji pack, right? Or like I don't know, insert your favorite character here emoji pack. Or like, people have created like chef kiss emoji and stuff like that.
Right.
And now you could have that. I mean, let alone the fact that we can all look forward to creating our own emoji with Genmoji. So I guess I would expect that they are essentially what we can see here. Like the Genmoji are essentially stickers, but they have now pushed the idea of stickers to act like emoji. And so they just decided to do it for everything.
I would imagine that was the impetus for this. Like, we want to treat those as emoji, and so stickers get to come along.
Yeah.
I agree with you. The new visual layout is a little weird, being more spaced out, but I kind of tend to think that may just be like an adjustment period. But
yeah, you'll get used to it.
Yeah. But it is good. Like you in particular, Mike, have talked about this for a long time. Like stickers are like, they go on top of text. And I know Jason has talked about this as well. And like they go on top of text and they block text. And like, what if I want to use something like this? I kind of have to make some decisions about where it goes. And sometimes that's fun. And all that stuff still exists. But a lot of times I just want to inline with what I'm typing. And so I kind of feel like they've finally done what we all want, even if it comes with some trade-offs in terms of the density visually. But I'm glad they're doing it.
And hey, this is a very helpful feature to add to iMessage when you add RCS to iMessage. Right?
Yeah.
If people adopt this and really start using it, then it increases the iMessage experience and decreases the RCS experience. So,
Yep, good point.
Which, look, I'm not saying, I don't believe that they did this for that, but I bet when someone realized that, they were like, great.
Yeah.
Apple's thing is they need to increase the lock-in for iMessage. Like, I understand it. Like, I see what the point of that is. Like, iMessage is one of the most important features on the iPhone for creating the Apple ecosystem. And so anything that it's why iMessage gets significant updates every single year.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think this is a thing that they'll just keep pushing on to keep making iMessage better and better and better. And I do think these features make it better. Anything you guys wanted to point out from Developer Beta 3 at all? Are you both using the betas on a lot of devices? John, I'm sure you're probably on everything everywhere, right?
Yeah, everything except for my Apple TV. So I have not tried the Insight feature yet that showed up in this most recent beta, because that's one of those things where it's like, if I screw up my Apple TV and Jennifer sits down to watch TV at night,
I think that it is available on the iPhone too, though.
Yeah, I haven't,
like
but I don't.
If you watch
a
TV Plus show on your iPhone, I think you can also get that feature. But obviously, it's just more natural to use on Apple TV.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I haven't tried it yet. I do have betas on iPads, Apple Watch, iPhone, and Mac, and as a result, I am recording on Mac hardware. That's not my normal setup. That's what I do in the summer. I replace my keyboard with my MacBook Pro and sit here looking at a MacBook Pro instead.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite things listening to App Stories Plus around this time of the year is Federico wanting to install macOS and you trying to stop him.
Yes, thank you for that.
I was thinking of you guys and myself.
Well, for me, I'm kind of just like, at this point, let it fly, because I don't have to worry about it, but I know Stephen does, and so I worry for Stephen.
It's all fun and games until we don't have a podcast, Like,
yeah, exactly.
You do still have to worry about it.
Well, I worry about my part.
Yeah, you have to have a good backup.
Me,
Yeah, you have to have a good backup plan, and he's becoming kind of a minimalist, and it concerns me that doesn't have a backup Mac really, and that's why I put the brakes on him this year a little bit. Plus, there's not that much.
He doesn't even have a whole Mac, John. He has half a Mac.
He has half of a real Mac.
I know.
That is pretty minimal, right?
Yeah,
I have half of a computer. Like that's about as minimal as you can get.
That's pretty good.
True.
The only thing I'll add here is I suspect that developer beta 3 will be public beta 1 next week. It feels pretty solid at this point. We're now basically halfway into July, here at the end of the week. So I think we will see developer beta 3 get graduated to the public beta. And I will just say, I think we do this every year. Just know what you're getting into. I think listeners of shows like this know what they're getting into, that your battery life's going to be terrible. Some of your apps aren't going to work right. And things may change out from underneath you. But if you live that exciting life, go for it. I'll put the public beta on my phone after London. Right now it's on a secondary phone, but I'll make the move after our trip, I'm sure.
Yeah, one of the things that's interesting is that we didn't get a Sequoia update this week for
it just came out. It is out now.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Look at that. I do not feel right now any desire to put iOS 18 on my phone. I just don't have it.
Is it because the AI stuff's not there?
It's not because the AI stuff isn't there. It's because there isn't a lot of stuff there currently, is more of it, right? That like the majority of stuff that Apple is going to spend the most time talking about in iOS 18 will probably not be in 18.0, right? And if they end up putting some intelligence features, which we believe they will, into 18, that's probably when I'll jump on, because I think it's going to be the biggest thing. But like, I'm looking forward to Control Center and having like these emojis. But outside of that, there isn't really anything else that I'm like dying to use, because I think that the dark mode stuff is interesting, but it's not what I want. And I think right now it's going to give me an experience that I'm not looking for, like where I want dark widgets and like dark UI elements that dark mode currently gives me on 17, but light icons, because I don't like the majority of Apple's dark icons. I don't think that the colors are right, and they're still not changing them. But if I choose light icons, all of the dark mode interface on the home screen doesn't exist, right? Like, and like all of my widgets are brighter, my dock is brighter, and so like I'm not keen on that. So like I'm not super enthused to install the beta yet, but I just don't have the thing that's pulling me.
Yeah, there isn't much to it, I don't think, at least right now. I mean, I really do like the new Control Center, and I like the ability to put those control widgets on my lock screen too. That's been really handy. But beyond that, not so much. But that it's even less so on the Mac. The Mac is just, my day-to-day work on my Mac has not changed at all, hardly. It's just like, it's really thin without the Apple Intelligence stuff on there yet.
Is the iPhone mirroring in the Mac yet?
It is, and it broke with the last developer beta of iOS 18, although I'm assuming that today's Mac update will probably fix that.
Yeah. Something that was interesting, I had a call with a friend, and we wanted to do the Persona call, and it wouldn't work with them because they weren't on the beta. They went on
interesting.
Too, which I thought was really weird, but there you go.
Our friend, the HomePod with display, the display pod, is back in the news. So this is a pair of stories, one from 9 to 5 Mac, one from Mac Rumors, that tvOS 18 beta 3, honestly, Mike, you should have brought this to the show as the tvOS guy.
No, I retired. No, sorry. I was fired from that position, if you remember.
You're forced out.
You're ousted.
Yeah. You were part of the reason, John. Don't come to me.
I was part of the cabal that got rid of you.
Yeah, there was.
You got to pull a Sam Altman and come back in.
You know what? I should do that, but I don't know who I'm appealing to. Who am I appealing to?
That's the masses. The tvOS 18 Beta 3 includes something called Plasterboard. Springboard is basically the background task that runs the home screen on the iPhone. And I forget what it's called on watchOS, but watchOS has a separate name for it, I think. But anyways, Plasterboard apparently is what it's called here. And there's a touch screen friendly UI. Like, go look at this article. It looks like an iPad unlock screen. It's very basic, very simple, but obviously tvOS does not need something that's touchscreen friendly. And this kind of is on the back of the idea that whatever a HomePod with a display would be based on tvOS. You know, that UI, sort of that stack of technology would move over. So this is showing up in beta 3 of tvOS 18. And then Aaron over at Macrumors reports that there is a product called Home Accessory 17,1 that Apple has been working on. That's a string identifier that they have located. And this would be similar to the audio accessory identifier used by current HomePods. So a new name, new internal name, seems to kind of line up with this. What's interesting is the 17,1 would be like 17, is going to be used for the A18 chips coming in the iPhone 16. Yes, Apple's numbers and naming are out of control. It is what it is. And so maybe this thing could be powered by something much more powerful than, the Apple Watch chip found in something like the HomePod Mini. Could also mean something like this could potentially pick up some Apple Intelligence things. Who knows? But it seems like there's a lot of smoke to this fire, that Apple is working on something that combines something like a HomePod and an iPad Mini, and maybe we're beginning to see the pieces of that come together.
The name in a smart plasterboard is used to make homes.
Yeah, true.
Oh, yeah.
I hadn't really thought about that.
I think in America it's called sheetrock, but here we call it plasterboard.
Sheetrock board.
So, like, it is something that is used to build homes. So obviously they love their board names, right? Like they've been doing forever.
Yeah.
And like Carter in the Discord is saying, poster board, I remember this now, is the customizable lock screen on iOS, right? That has its own name. And so a home accessory being called plasterboard internally, that would make a lot of sense for how they would call this UI. This product makes so much sense, right? Like I believe it's coming because it's so logical as a product, right?
Yeah.
Where Apple already make all of the things that you would need to make a product like this. They just need to physically connect them together.
Mm-hmm.
Put an iPod. You can put an iPod on it if you want to.
Do it.
But I meant to say put an iPad on a HomePod. You've done the thing, right? Like you've done it.
Right.
And there's also all these things where, like I believe in the last Global Accessibility Awareness Day, one of the iOS 18 features is like an eye tracking feature for a iPad.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that they're going to do something either eye or hand tracking based for controlling a device like this, because I think that would be brilliant. Like I think all of the pieces are coming together to create something really nice and really expensive. Especially if it has the robot arm that Mark Gurman keeps talking about.
Right, that's what I was going to say. This is going to be the entree into tabletop robots.
Yes, yeah. He keeps talking about that. He loves it. But look, I do. We are in an Echo Show family.
Echo.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it.
Echo.
I hate it.
Echo.
But my wife loves it, and I want to replace it. And I think this could replace it.
What does she use it for? Is it for mostly photos or news or weather?
She likes it for photos.
Okay.
But she prefers to talk to the Echo to control the smart home devices.
Okay.
We don't have any HomePods at home, so those devices really are the best way to communicate with things. And so, if we had one, this would do it. But for me, there's no point just bringing a HomePod and setting it up at home for this thing, because she's still going to want to use the Echo, and
Sure.
she likes the combo of what the screen shows things to her that she finds interesting.
Yeah.
Sometimes new stuff or whatever, which I hate, but it's just one of these things where I don't have something to replace this product with that is better than this product at all of the things that it does. So I'm not going to force it. There's no point. It doesn't harm me. But I would love to be able to do this right. Like, because the photos, we have to manually upload to Amazon Photos, right? And that, like, I would prefer like how I have photos on standby, which is it's just pulling from the library. I don't have to do anything about it, right? The same as like calendars, right? I can't connect our family calendar to the Echo in a way that I'm happy. But if it was an iOS device, it could just pull the family calendar in and show it to me on a widget, right? Like it would be a vastly superior product in a bunch of ways that I know that she would appreciate. But right now, there isn't anything. So why pull the rug from under the way that she's used to doing something? I'm happy that she wants to use the smart home devices. I don't want to like...
I don't want to
say like, oh, the way you do this, you can't do it anymore. Why? Because
you're
I
holding
don't
it wrong.
like this device because it's old. Like there's that kind of nothing. There's no reason.
I get it.
You know?
I get it. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out whether there's a place in my life for one of these type of devices. I don't really know if there is. I mean, a lot of that kind of stuff I use my phone for, and the way our house kind of works now, that we're on 3 floors, most of the technology is concentrated on the first floor where I work. And then it gradually lessens as you go up the floors. Right? I was realizing this.
There's
the other day.
There's no power in the attic.
No, right? It was, well, so you go to the second floor, which is like where our living space and kitchen is, and yeah, there's some automatic lights there, but not all of them are automatic. And there's an Apple TV, but that's really about. And there's the HomePods, which are connected to the TV, but that's about it. And then you go upstairs to the 3rd floor where the bedrooms are. And there's really nothing. I mean, other than when you bring something up there, you know, whether it's a phone or whatever, or iPad. But that's kind of just how it is. I also realized that I think my original HomePods, which are still kicking and are still a stereo pair with my television, are my first device that I've owned until they've been, you know, declared obsolete by Apple. I think that's the first Apple thing I ever.
I think that's the same for me too. I'm still using my 2 original HomePods. They were ones that I had at home, and then I didn't know what to do with them for a while when we moved because we went Sonos, which I'm way happier with. But now I have them as a stereo pair here at the studio, connected to my TV here at the studio. Way too loud, just in general. HomePods are so loud. They're just so loud. There's like no way to make them not loud. But I like them. You know, they are good, but I would not recommend it at all. I would not recommend HomePods as a stereo pair. Like, I just would not. Like, my recommendation now is Sonos for this stuff because it's just so much more flexible. Right?
I'm the opposite way.
Why?
I really am. I bought a Sonos portable speaker, and I was like, I hate this. I don't like the Sonos app.
But they made it so much better recently.
Well, you know, but what I'm saying for connecting to your TV, you never use the app.
Yeah, that's true. Right? That's true.
You connect it to the sound bar, and then you can also connect like left and right speakers in the app. And then once you configure them, that's it. And now, like when we play Nintendo Switch, it uses Sonos. When we play PlayStation, it uses Sonos. Like,
that's nice.
It doesn't matter, and that's what I like about it. And I know that eARC exists. I've tried it out, and it's okay. But it's still a pain. Like it doesn't work reliably. There's 0 problems with the Sonos system.
Yeah, eARC works for me. The trouble that I've been having for the last several months is with HDMI and the TV just turning on all by itself, which is really annoying throughout the day. All of a sudden, I'll hear someone watching television upstairs when no one's home except me. And I have to go shut it off or use my iPhone to shut it off. So that's a fun thing. That's some sort of conflict.
When that happens, what is the TV showing?
Whatever it was last on. Sometimes it turns on. Well, this is a new thing. It used to turn on the Apple TV, which would then trigger the TV. That's really what was happening. Yeah. Though yesterday I went upstairs and just the TV was on, and it was just like the LG screensaver or something. So I don't know what in the world is going on at this point. For a while, I thought it was because of the betas, and every time I updated my phone or opened my phone or did something, I guess, significant with my phone, like opened the Home app or something, it would turn the television on by accident because it was connecting to the Home Hub or something. I'm not, because that Apple TV is our Home Hub. I think I need to try to move the Home Hub somewhere else in the house and see if that makes a difference.
I am so excited about the fact that you'll be able to choose Home Hubs.
Yeah.
Because like the Apple TV at the studio causes me so many problems, and I don't know why. Like it just does. And it's very frequent, not very frequently enough. Like I'm away from the studio and I get your home hub isn't responding.
Yeah.
And I open the home app and it's like all the HomePods are connected, but the TV is like, no, it can't connect. But it won't change to it won't move to the thing that is working. It's just like, oh no, there's no way. Like I'm dead now. And so like I will just move it to my HomePod Mini, which is much more reliable for this stuff. Than the Apple TV has been for me. So I'm happy that they're adding that feature. And I guess this is why, because like these devices can act weird, and when you're then like you've got your security camera relying on this device being available and on the network, like that's a problem, you know?
This episode of Connected is brought to you by Fitbod. When you want to change your fitness level, it can be hard to know where to start. That's why I'm pleased to let you know that Fitbod is an easy and affordable way to build a fitness plan that's just for you. Everyone's fitness path is different, which is why Fitbod uses data to make sure they customize things exactly to suit you, adapting to you as you improve, so each workout will be challenging, pushing you to make the progress you want. Superior results are achieved when a workout program is tailored to your unique body, experience, environment, and goals, all of which are stored in your Fitbod gym profile. It tracks your muscle recovery so you can avoid burnout and keep up your momentum. And it builds your best possible workouts by combining AI with exercise science. They've analyzed billions of data points that have been fine-tuned by certified personal trainers. And you can make sure you're learning new movements the right way thanks to more than 1,000 demonstration videos. Muscles improve while working in concert with the entire system. So overworking some muscles while underworking others can negatively impact your results. That's why Fitbod tracks muscle fatigue and recovery to design a well-balanced workout routine. It also means you're never going to get bored. So the app mixes up your workouts with the new exercises, rep schemes, supersets, and circuits. And the app is really easy to use. You can stay informed with progress tracking charts, weekly reports, and you can even let your friends know what you're up to with sharing cards. It also integrates with your Apple Watch, Wear OS smartwatch, and apps like Strava, Fitbit, and Apple Health. One of my favorite things about Fitbod is that I can tell it exactly what equipment I have. So it knows all about my home gym that I've built out in my garage over the years. But if I'm traveling and maybe I'm at a hotel with more or less equipment, or I'm just doing a body weight workout, I can tell the app what I have available, and it reconfigures my workouts to meet the situation. And it's really cool to be able to do that and not have to like skip around trying to find something you think you can do. Personalized training of this quality can be expensive, but Fitbod is just $12.99 a month or $79.99 a year. And you can get 25% off your membership by signing up at fitbod.me/connected. So go now and get your customized fitness plan at Fitbod, Fitbod, fitbod.me/connected for 25% off your membership. Our thanks to Fitbod for the support of the show and Relay FM. I had a brainwave the other day, and I figured John's here. We should play a game, and I've titled this game the Ticcilympics.
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect.
Ticcilympics.
Very appropriate with the Olympics going on in Paris, just around the corner.
Yep.
Exactly.
We all know
John.
Federico's from Paris, so
he's very French.
Makes sense. He's very French.
So
he's a man of the French people. Really.
The man,
he, loves the French.
He really is.
He loves long bread and windmills. I don't know what's up in France.
Long bread.
Long bread. That's very French.
Yep.
So this is a new game brought to you by the minds that brought you things like the Rickies and the Jeremies and the Uis.
And the Annies.
Yes, and the Annies. We add today the Ticcilympics. So we're going to make picks on what sorts of technology experiments our friend may undertake in the next 12 months. And to avoid a space-time paradox, Federico has been forbidden from looking at our show planning document and is not allowed to listen to this episode.
Federico, if you're listening, you got to stop now.
Time to stop.
I will remind him in iMessage when this episode goes up that he cannot listen to it. Because if we make a pick and he hears it, he can influence the outcome. And we all know what happens
his
to that.
Connected Pro
when that
membership, Stephen. you should just shut him off for the week.
So we will each make 3 picks, and a correct prediction will earn 1 point when graded in July of 2025. We also have a set of passion picks. They are ungraded and just for bragging rights.
Yeah, passion.
So we're going to do this round robin style because we don't have a precedent of who gets to go first. There's no winners or losers yet. So round robin it is. John, kick us off on round 1.
All right. I'm going to go with what I think is kind of a gimme for the next 12 months, which is that Federico is going to find a way to use Thunderbolt 5. So
Thunderbolt the only 5, man in the world excited by Thunderbolt 5.
Yeah, right. I mean, look, this is the guy who recently ordered a 10-meter long USB 4 cable that was handmade for him in China. All right. That I think is not quite public knowledge yet, but listen to NPC on Mac Stories. We'll be talking about it soon. But he loves himself a good cable, and Thunderbolt 5. I think it's 240 watts of power delivery and something like 120 gigabits per second. It's fast, delivers a lot of power. It's perfect for things like eGPUs, which is one of his favorite topics, and I think this is where he's going right now, though. I mean, the problem is that I think that was Sean Hollister at The Verge who wrote about this cable that just was recently released, is that there's really only one thing you can do with it right now, which is you can connect 2 $4,500 Razer gaming laptops together and transfer files between them because Razer is using a proprietary controller for its Thunderbolt 5 ports because Intel hasn't released these to the general, OEMs yet. And so it's going to be a little while still, I think, before we see true Thunderbolt 5 accessories. But that the first person who's going to get one of those controllers shipped to him from somewhere in China or wherever it comes from to Italy is going to be Federico, because he's going to put it inside that eGPU of his, and he's going to find a way to get the longest Thunderbolt 5 cable in the world. I think that this is a lot like Thunderbolt 4, where you really can't get yourself past like a meter or so, but where there's a will, there's a way. He did it with USB 4. I think he can do it with Thunderbolt 5, and he'll have a use for it.
Where there's an intelligent person in China, there's a way. Do you think he will spend a lot of time on Reddit trying to find a circuit board that is capable, that someone will make for him in a shed somewhere in Memphis or something? I don't know.
Right, or like his friendly guy in Las Vegas who printed his eGPU case and all that. Yeah,
very friendly guy in Las Vegas. I will say, I'm just going to say for the record here, right? I know of a Ticci surprise.
I know you do know one that I don't know about yet.
It's not in my picks.
Okay.
Right. So there is something I know that he's done, and I know there's something that he's doing, but I will not share it. And so, this is all above board here. Okay.
Okay.
All right. My pick is actually somewhat related to yours, John, which is Federico drills a hole in a wall for running a cable to an external GPU. So currently, Federico is playing video games in bed using an eGPU in another room. So he turns on his eGPU and he runs the cable out the hallway into the other room. Sometimes causes small fires. Again, there's so much of this information available on NPC, you should listen to it. Sometimes things catch fire in the middle of the night and Federico has to go investigate them in the other room. And I am convinced at some point he will run a cable through the wall because he will find the perfect cable, like his Thunderbolt 5 cable, and it will do everything he wants, but it's like a meter too short. And so, so he will have somebody come to the house, probably when Sylvia's not there, drill a hole through the wall, run a cable, and pretend it never happened.
Yeah, that was one of my first questions to him was, is Sylvia okay with you unrolling this cable down the hall every night? Or is it there all day? I mean, what's going on here? He unrolls it every evening when he wants to play a game.
I bet she became less happy when the fire broke out.
Oh, she was not pleased about that. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Me and him were texting that day, and it was the first thing I said to him when he told me about it. I was like, oh man, she's going to be so mad at you. And she was.
When he fixed it, she made him fix it outside on the balcony.
God bless her.
I did also,
she
for the
puts up with a
record,
lot.
tell him to invest in a fire extinguisher.
I did.
I think it's gotten to the point. He did. Good.
Yeah,
I
did.
recommended a brand to him that I own. I've never used, but I own.
Yeah.
So
I got one of this. If it's the one from Cortex, I also have one in my office.
The Firexo, I think,
so.
or Firejo is the brand. Basically, what I like about this company is their fire extinguishers are all-purpose, which I think is one of the most insane things about fire extinguishers, is that you have to know that the one you're using is correct for the fire that you have, which is just like, this is not a decision I want to make at the point that the fires broke out. And like, that's their whole thing.
I think Myke, of the four of us, he's the person who has to own this thing more than anybody else.
Yeah. I'm not worried about causing a fire, but I have it. I'm worried he's going to cause a fire because he already has, so he needs it. I'm happy he's got it.
So I have a pick, but I'm going to leave it to the two of you to see if it's still valid. So my pick that I wrote many days ago was Federico tries an e-ink phone to help reduce distractions and get more into reading. But then after I wrote it, but before we recorded, he on Threads asked the question we all ask ourselves: should I buy a Boox Palma, which is like this e-ink Android phone that's popular at the moment? So I would like to keep this pick. I feel like it's still okay because he also talked about Thunderbolt 5, but I just wanted to double check with you all that you were okay with this.
I think you can keep it, but he has to say, I'm using this to get more into reading, and like keep it.
Okay.
Well, I will say this. I was very surprised when I saw that post because I thought that he owned a Boox Palma.
I do, but I don't think he does.
I don't know. I could swear he told me that he owned one because I have one. And when I told him about it, like, oh, surprise, I have this Boox Palma. He said, oh yeah, I've had one of those for 6 months and never use it.
Huh.
Now, a Boox Palma is not an e-ink phone. There are e-ink phones out there.
No, it is an e-ink. It's a straight up Android phone.
It's an e-ink iPod Touch.
Basically. Yeah, it's like a more for reading. It's an Android device, but it doesn't have a SIM card in it. Is I guess what I'm saying.
I still think this pick is fine. Even if it was just a Boox Palma, I think it would still be fine because, it's basically a phone. Because even if he owns one, he ain't talking about it. So he needs to state, right? He needs to state, oh, I got this thing and I'm using it for reading.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think that it's probably good because you're right. If he does have it, it's one of those many things that he has in storage. He has infinite storage. It's like Fred Flintstone going into the closet and the Brock bowling ball falling on his head. That's Federico's closet.
But it's just an eGPU.
It's an eGPU and a Boox Palma.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the end of round one. Myke said another. John says Federico finds a use for Thunderbolt 5. Myke says he drills a hole in the wall for running a cable to an external GPU. And I say he tries an e-ink phone to reduce distractions and get more into reading. I feel pretty good about those.
Yep.
Myke, start us on round two.
So my round two pick is that Federico buys another Windows handheld and declares it to be the best, then sells his Legion Go.
I think that's a good pick. I think that's
this is
pretty much a lot.
He does this on an annual basis.
Well, yeah. And these devices are coming out so fast and furious these days that I'm sure there'll be something better within the next 6 months.
Yeah. I mean, do you know if he has any interest in the ROG Ally X?
Oh, yeah, he definitely does. Yeah, okay. He's definitely has his eye on it. But I don't think... It's better in some ways, but because the chipset is basically the same as the Go, my guess is he won't go with the X, but I think there'll be something else that kind of goes the next step beyond that.
It could be from Xbox, honestly.
Absolutely.
But yeah, the key is for me because I know that this is so likely, and it's not because of Federico, because of the rate of improvement in these devices. The key for me is that he sells the Legion Go. That's when he's committed, And so that's what he's going to have to do that.
Yeah, and he has a reason to do it now, a work reason now too with NPC. So I mean, I think that this is kind of a lock personally.
So all tax write-offs now, baby. You know.
That's right. It's not like it costs money if it's a tax write-off.
It's just free. It's free. You advise him on this, right, John? Should we be worried?
I'm an accountant, a tax attorney, and all those things rolled into one.
My second round pick, Federico speaks before a government body in an official capacity about AI training.
Wow.
So I have a couple of things feeding into this, right? Y'all are, I think, rightfully so, talking a lot about LLM training. I missed last week's episode, but it was a great one. You've written letters to your representatives, both in the US and in Italy. And Federico's been in the New York Times twice. And so I feel like the next step is to speak in front of, what do they have in Italy? Parliament, I guess, something. And, or, maybe here, but something official, right? Not just like sending a letter or an email, but like an official something in front of a government body on this topic.
I think this is a long shot, but it's possible.
We don't have risky picks in this game. The rules are set.
I know.
So
we got to. My next one's kind of a risky one too, but
agreed.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a possibility. I mean, I think I just can't wait for the content prospects of going to Brussels with Federico and
great.
Marching into Parliament or into a committee meeting and talking about AI. But yeah, it could be possible. I've heard back from at least one of the senators that we wrote to already. So
awesome. Oh yeah.
Yeah. One of the ones from North Carolina. I mean, they nothing committal in any kind of way, but I mean, they definitely got some attention from a couple people so far.
They're kind of like, I guess they're kind of happy, right? Like they want you giving them, like, if I don't know if this senator specifically is like focused on AI legislation. I think Federico mentioned that you were targeting those people.
Yes,
right?
Although at the last minute, I also sent it to both of the North Carolina U.S. senators because one of the problems, I mean, this is just a thing of American politics, is that me writing to a senator from another state, they are more likely to throw that letter into the bin just because I'm not one of their constituents. Right. So North Carolina has fairly conservative U.S. senators, and this guy was not particularly... He didn't strike me as particularly interested in AI or in regulating startups.
Anything.
But, right, anything probably. But I got a polite response back. And,
there you go.
Hey, that's so great, we'll Sometimes it's just nice to be noticed.
It is.
Right.
Two quick things. Real-time follow-up. Italy does have a parliament. Thankfully, Federico will never hear me make that. I put the Wikipedia page in the show notes. You can go check it out. They have sick logos for the Republican and Senate of the Republican Chamber of the Deputies. Very, very cool. Secondly, I, not over AI, but in the past over other things, have reached out to my Congress people and like heard back, had good conversations. They, in the end, disagreed with me on the particular issue of some healthcare stuff. But I will say, the people that you interact with in like congressional offices and stuff generally like are there to try to do a good job. Yes, some of them are nutty or may believe something that you don't, including in my case, right, where we came at the end to a disagreement, which I knew we were going to do. I felt listened to and had like good conversations. And so it's an important thing to do.
Yep. Same thing here.
In theory, and I do believe still in practice, the majority of these people are professionals.
Yeah.
Like even
their
if
bosses
they
may be insane, but the people in
even I still think not all, but I still think that a lot of people that appear crazy on the outside, they just do it for show. But
maybe
anyway,
maybe
not all.
Not
I
all.
will state that for the record.
Yeah.
You guys have some
we
particularly
do. Including in my state
people.
But really, what I mean, like staff in congressional offices and parliamentarian offices, like people who are professional, like, it's good. And
there's no doubt in my mind that the letter that I got said it was signed by the senator, but was written by somebody in his office. But it was well done. It was a thoughtful response, even though it wasn't really, in line with my thinking on the issues. But I appreciated hearing back from them.
Look, they're doing a better job than Apple is with the feedback system. At least you heard something back. So
there you go. Hey,
remember when we were going to talk about that a couple weeks ago? I jammed it in there. Okay. John, your round 2 pick out of all of these is the most wild to me. So please share it with the group.
Well, I think Federico is going to break down and buy a 3D printer this year because he has been buying endless little adapters and other things from Etsy, whether it's, the comfort thing for the Vision Pro or something to adapt his various game controllers and consoles and things like that. He's buying a lot of stuff on Etsy that's all 3D printed.
Yeah.
And although he doesn't live in an apartment where I think particularly Sylvia would like him setting up a 3D printer in his office, he does have some storage space in his garage that I think he could use for this, or out on the balcony. I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to start printing things up. And I don't know. I mean, I think it is a long shot, but I do think there's a chance that Federico will start 3D printing things this year.
Federico needs a studio.
Oh, he definitely does. I've had this conversation with him and said this exact thing to him. It's like, why don't you just put it downstairs in your like garage area or whatever? Like if you have power down there. I don't know if he has. He does, doesn't he? He set up a camera.
Yeah, he does. He has. I think it's a little bit like a storage unit that he's got his car parked there, and there's like a little room that he has that has power.
Yeah.
So I think he could probably do it.
Because there's no way he's putting that. There's no way actually he should put it in the house, right? Because like I don't think the fumes of these things are like particularly good.
It depends on what you're printing. Like mine is in my studio, and if I'm printing,
but you're not there all the time when it's running, though.
No, no. Usually I run it overnight, but it depends on the material you're running. I have had the thought before of like all these like Etsy things. Like I could design and print and ship a bunch of that stuff, but like I already have a full-time job, so
right.
I'm not gonna get into the Etsy world, but it is helpful. Like, and it is a fun thing to have around over on MPU. David Sparks and I have talked a lot about it over the last year or so as we've gotten into it. So. And you can make 10,000 smiley, happy sponge faces for a podcastathon. It's a business expense, John.
It is. It's a tax write-off. It's basically free.
It's basically free.
Remember, everybody, John
that basically is carrying a lot of weight in that sentence. The fact that it's basically free.
Yeah. Connected is not legal advice, nor has it ever been.
And then, if you think about it in the long term, if he starts buying things off of Etsy, then he's like, making money.
It's paying for itself.
It's paying for, and it's already paid for itself. Taxes did that. It's free. So he's up.
Mac Stories is going to compete with Etsy. That's the next thing that's coming. I'm telling you. It's going to have our own little 3D shop.
Yep. Love
Etsy
it.
Stories.
Look forward to it.
This episode of Connected is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Going online without ExpressVPN is like leaving your keys in your car while you run into the gas station. Most of the time, it's probably fine. But there's always the risk you come back and something terrible has happened and your car is gone. When you set up and connect an unencrypted network in cafes, hotels, airports, etc., your data is not always secure. Someone on the same network could gain access to personal data, logins, credit card details, other things you wouldn't want in someone else's hands. ExpressVPN stops hackers from stealing your data by creating a secure, encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet. There's loads of reasons to choose ExpressVPN over other VPNs. It is super secure. It would take a hacker with a supercomputer over 1 billion years to get past ExpressVPN's encryption. It's easy to use. You just fire up the app and click one button to get protected. It's available on a bunch of your devices, phones, laptops, tablets, and more, so you can stay secure on the go. Plus, it's been rated #1 by top tech reviewers like CNET and The Verge. And one of my favorite reasons is the speed. It is really, really fast. You can stream media on it really easily. Some of these services really slow that sort of thing down. And that's important to me using ExpressVPN. I want for my internet connection what I'm doing to feel like it always does when I'm at home, but I know I can be safe and secure.
Yeah, it's like hotel Wi-Fi is slow enough, right?
Don't add another layer to it,
Yeah, right.
Oh, thank you.
Don't do that. Goodness. So secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/connected. That's expressvpn.com/connected. And you go there, you will get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. It's expressvpn.com/connected. Our thanks to ExpressVPN for their support of the show and Relay FM. Round the third. I will start with this. Federico adds a water feature to his balcony.
I like this one a lot.
He's got
big balcony
lights.
boy.
He's got plants. The other day, he sent us a photo where he was pulling up the tile and like running power under there. It's just a matter of time before there's a fountain or some sort of shooting water thing. You know, a water feature. It's coming.
I think so. And I think, but like you said, he's got the lights. He'll get the colored lights going on in the evening, the water feature going. Then he'll put on the Vision Pro, dive into one of those meditation sessions, and just, that'll be how he unwinds. I think you're absolutely right about this one.
He's going to become a man of Zen,
Yeah. I think he's pretty close to that, but it feels like this could push him over the edge.
Yeah.
Not at the balcony. Gosh, not at the balcony.
Yeah, he's got a lot of space out there, so I think he could definitely fit it. It's a huge balcony, and they've put a ton of plants out there already.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good.
Does look good.
I think he lives at a resort now. That's what I told him. I mean, it really
it looks like a resort. It just looks like a resort. Like
it's a beautiful
kind of
building,
really.
And there's so many nice amenities there, a pool and all kinds of things. All right. So for my third round pick, I think Federico is going to re-explore the world of AR glasses to use as an external display. Because as I'm sure listeners remember, last summer, he and I both were using the X-Real glasses.
Yeah.
And those fell by the wayside when the Vision Pro came out. And I recently got mine back out, and I think he did too, just to see how they worked with things like an Android gaming device. And it's really a pretty nice experience. I mean, the resolution's not anything close to the Vision Pro, but if you're playing pixelated retro games and things, it's totally fine, and it's actually quite nice. I think that he's going to look at these, and I think he's also had his eye on the Vitcher glasses, which came out, I don't know, 1 or 2 months ago or so. It's kind of the X-Reals, but a little nicer. And so it's a whole category that continues to evolve slowly over time, and it's only getting better. And I think that for times when he doesn't want to have a full-on Vision Pro helmet on, he might go back to the glasses. I mean, he's a glasses guy with the Meta glasses now too. So I think it kind of fits with the whole vibe.
Yeah, I think this is definitely something that's going to happen, and I feel like he has given up some of the flexibility he had with X-Real, right? Because you could use it on. Was he using it with his iPad?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, and Vision Pro didn't have that, so
you use it with anything. Yeah, anything.
That's good. That's good. All right, Myke, you're up.
So this is the final pick, right? This is the final pick of all 3 rounds. I've decided to do game inception and pick that Federico makes more than 10 flexi picks in one game of the Rickies over the next year.
Oh, wow.
he just needs to be feeling particularly confident, and I think he'll do it.
I think so too. That's really good. What's the record? 7 or 8?
I think he got up to 10 once.
Maybe he did. Maybe someone.
There was that one where we all went really high. We all got a little bit excited. And Federico got the most excited. So
yeah,
and the most wrong, I think too.
So I mean that's natural. Like that's just gonna happen.
It seems like he's done 12.
That might be why he doesn't do it. Like, he's done 12 before. Yeah. See, this might be why he doesn't do it. But I'm still thinking at some point he's gonna do it.
Mm-hmm. We should also say, this has now come up in Discord, that Federico can't listen to this episode because we don't want him shaping the future. We also are taking a pledge that we're not shaping the future, right? We're not going to subtly push him into I'm not going to be like, hey, look at this cool fountain I found. It would be sick on your balcony.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yes, we all take the pledge.
Yes.
The pledge of the Ticcilympics.
That's right. Yeah. No doping in the Ticcilympics. He has picked 12 2 times in May 2024 and September 2022. So, and he picked 10 at WWDC 21. So this is a good pick, Myke. I like this.
I will do my best Like, because you've also got to, I got to remember this, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've got to remember that I can't egg him on.
Yeah.
But also, forget that if I don't egg him on, is that going to be a problem? You know? So we'll have to just see. We'll just have to see how we go on that one. I can't make any promises at this stage.
Just got to play it as straight as you can, Myke.
Yeah, I will do my best.
All right, so those are the 3 rounds. We are now moving into passion picks. These are ungraded just for the passion. John, you got a couple. Myke has 3, and I have 1. So, John, what are your 2?
All right, my first one is, I think, a pretty much a lock, which is he's going to build something new with magnets. Federico and magnets are just like, it's his thing. Yeah, he loves the magnets. And there's always a good use. There's always something you can stick to the back of your phone, right? So, or your MacBook or whatever it happens to be. So I think he'll do something with magnets. But I also think, and this is one's maybe a little riskier, I think he's finally going to break down and admit that his friends were right and buy an Ionodin 2, which is that Android game device that we talked about a little earlier in the show. And I think there's a particular reason why he hasn't done this yet. And this is, you have to get into the mind of Ticci for this, which is he wasn't the one to come up with this idea. All right. This goes right This goes right to the humility and humbleness of Mr. Viticci, which is I bought one of these in late November around Thanksgiving last year. And I told him it was great. And he's like, oh, yeah, that looks really cool. Then I kind of convinced Brendan Bigley to get one because he saw me writing about it and talking about it here and there. And he got it and he goes, oh, this is amazing. This is great. And Federico's like, I don't know. I think I'm going to try this one. I'm going to try this other one because he has to be first. It's like bragging rights. He wants to be the one that people follow and not be the follower.
That's incredible.
Right? But I do think he's going to get the Odin 2 because I don't think they're going to come out with another Odin too soon. They just came out with a mini, which is essentially the same device but thinner. And I don't know. I think he's going to do it. I think he'll finally do it because he does break down once in a while. He just wants to be the person who discovers the thing. And this is one of those where he's not going to be able to do that. He's just going to have to say, oh, Mike's got it and John's got it and Brendan's got it. I guess
maybe what he does is he gets the mini and he's like, oh, guys, you don't even know. Like, this one's way better.
I know. I've thought about
that. That's the way he'll do it.
Yeah, Brendan already got the mini, so he can't be first with the mini either. So,
because he's buying that weird square one, right?
Yeah, the cube one, which is really weird looking. It looks pretty good, and it's gotten pretty well reviewed. But that's the Ambernick RG Cube is called.
Yeah, because that's Android, right? That one.
Yeah, it is.
I think
it is.
Yeah.
I think it's their first Android.
I think it is.
Well, maybe it's not their first. They put out so much stuff, but it is Android. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Oh my God, I love it. All right, am I up?
Yeah.
Yep, you're up.
All right, Federico returns to WWDC and tries a new food, and he doesn't like it.
Yeah. It's good.
Yes. I think he's going to hire you, Myke. I think he's going to hire you as a taster next year to make sure that his food hasn't been poisoned, because I'm convinced that he thinks I poisoned him, because the last thing that happened...
I forgot about this until I read it in a document today.
Right. The last thing that happened in 2022 before he went to the airport was he and I went off and got a sandwich at some local sandwich shop. We got different sandwiches. He got food poisoning and was violently ill all the way to Heathrow. And so I think that
on the flight,
it was
bad
like barely able. I mean, really badly sick. Yeah. And I'm convinced he blames me for it, and that he's gonna worry that I'm gonna poison him, just like he's convinced that you stole his heart rate monitor. He's going to be convinced that I tried to kill him.
The thing that made that worse, I think, in a way, was I was trying to convince him to come to lunch with me that day because he was like super busy. And I was worried that he wasn't going to eat, right?
Yep.
Because like he had a bunch of meetings. And I'm like, look, just instead of taking this time to write something or whatever, come get lunch with me and then you'll be good. And he was like, no, like I'm going to go with John. Like, fine. Because, it was bad.
And it was a big rush. We did this like really quick sandwich right before he went to the airport. And he basically, we ate a sandwich. I said goodbye to him. He went to the airport and he started throwing up.
Isn't that It's kind of incredible that the body can respond that fast.
Right. Yeah.
Like, there was something terribly wrong with that sandwich.
Oh, it was something horribly wrong with that sandwich.
It was immediate. It was an immediate issue. Oh, man. Do you remember what this was in it?
Do you remember? I don't. It was like a sub shop that we went to that was somewhere near campus, but I don't remember what he had.
I think it was like the sub shop with it was like a cartoon mascot of a bald guy, right? Or something.
Yeah, I think so. So.
Because I saw that shop a few times and was confused by it.
Yeah, I haven't.
I think it is a small chain.
Yeah, don't go back.
You won't be allowed to go back.
No,
all right. My
sure.
second passion pick is that Federico creates another Frankenstein computer device. I think he's not going to stop doing this now. Yeah. He's going to keep cutting up computers. Like that's going to happen.
Yep.
And also, Federico will discover a new kickstand technology.
Okay, what does that mean?
He'll find something from somewhere, either like from 3D printed on Alibaba, or I don't know. But he's going to be like, guys, I got a new kickstand, And
got it.
We'll all be excited for him.
Maybe it's like a multi-angle, or it has some sort of like friction lock. There'll be something for sure.
Mm-hmm. I got to say, by the way, I really want you to do this for me the next time I'm off the show.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I want to hear what people think about me in this way. Like,
you can't hear it. That's the
memes?
You can't hear it.
No, but he will hear it a year later. Though.
Eventually, yeah.
Eventually, he'll hear it.
But like I really want to know like what are my memes that I am maybe unaware of. So it's exciting. Very fun. Good. All right, Stephen, what's your passion pick?
I just had one, and it was Federico gets a new technology-related tattoo.
That is a good one. Maybe he gets a kickstand tattoo.
Oh my God, he should
like a kickstand on his ankle?
That would be like the strangest tattoo to get. What is that on your ankle, Federico? It's a kickstand.
Yeah, get out of my house.
He should get a kickstand or a magnet. He should get a tattoo of a magnet,
or
like the cartoon magnet.
Hang on, I'm putting a second one in there. Federico considers implanting a magnet into his body.
Oh wow!
My God. Oh my God!
To like unlock the door or do something. I'm going to say magnet and or NFC.
Yeah, NFC chip.
There's going to be there is the potential for great moments in the show here where
oh yeah, for sure.
He just says it and me and Steven start screaming.
You lose it, yeah.
He said it, and he's going to have no idea. This is exciting.
It's very good.
Man, what a great idea you had, Steven. This is so good.
Yeah, this is brilliant.
It has come out so much better than I ever hoped. So thank you for playing along. And we'll see how this goes. I have a thing to check in July of next year. So we'll see what happens.
Nice.
And he's going to take another vacation then too, so we can bring John back on.
Exactly. It's perfect time.
Yeah, he's always gone in July. Yeah, this is perfect. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the Ticcilympics. There we go. If you want to find links to the stuff we spoke about this week, we have them in the show notes. They're in your podcast player. They're also on the web at relay.fm/connected/510. You can become a member. There's a link right in the show notes. Members get Connected Pro, which is a longer ad-free version of the show each and every week. This week we spoke about the CMF Phone 1, a new device from the folks over at Nothing, and Mike gave us a solo top iPad Vision Pro update. So all that's in there.
I don't know where you're going with that, honestly. Like, just pausing on solo. I was like, what did I do? But you can find out for yourself, I guess.
Yeah. Get connectedpro.co. It's in the show notes. That's the whole point. You can also submit feedback or follow up. We have a form online. There's also a link to that in the show notes. We'd love to hear from all of y'all. And you can find us all online. You can find Mike on Mastodon and Threads as iMike. And he is the host of a bunch of other shows here on Relay FM. And of course, does excellent work over at Cortex Brand. You can find me as ISMH86 on social media. I write 512pixels.net and I co-host Mac Power Users. It comes out each and every Sunday here on Relay. John, where can people find you?
They can find me on macstories.net, and I am at John Voorhees on all the social media. And I'm on 3 podcasts these days, or 4 podcasts actually now. I can't even keep track of them all. There's App Stories, Mac Stories Unwind, NPC, which is Next Portable Console, and Ruminate, all on Mac Stories.
Awesome. John, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, guys.
This is a lot of fun. I'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Ecamm, Fitbod, and ExpressVPN. And until next time, guys, say goodbye.
See you later.
The problem was we wait for Federico, but Federico's not here.
I know.
And I don't think John would necessarily assume that he was going first.
It was a long pause. I had to fill the dead air.
I didn't know who was going to do it, and it turned out it had to be you, John.
It went exactly the way I wanted it to.
Ciao, Mike.
Ciao, John.
Bye, y'all.